I grew up with two younger sisters, and they were into collecting stuffed animals, and I thought that was cool. Every thrift store, every retail place, every aquarium gift shop, my sisters and I would just lose ourselves in their animal kingdom. My sisters and I ended up with hundreds of stuffed animals, each. And when you're a kid, your favorite animal is like half your personality, and it's going to be the thing you draw over and over until like the third grade. I was that weirdo kid who just couldn't pick a favorite, so I collected even the wackiest animals, like dodo birds, octopi, anything I thought was unique and cool. I loved my animals, until that one day of show and tell. When I was in first grade, every Friday we'd do show and tell. Something about getting up in front of an audience and talking just appealed to me. Like, who knew? I showed off my Toy Story VHS, and my Thomas the Tank Engine toys. But that wasn't enough. I got jealous of friends who could go up every week and show off some cool new toy. I once went up without anything to show and said, I have this cool RC car, and it can do jumps and flips, and it has a candy dispenser. I didn't bring it today because my sister broke it, yeah. I wanted so badly to go up at show and tell, I started making up toys I didn't actually have. I was legit pulling the my girlfriend goes to another school before it was cool. But soon I got real paranoid that my teacher was gonna catch on to all my lying. So I finally decided to bring in one of my favorite stuffed animals to show and tell. It was this fat, white, and fluffy teddy bear with a red bow tie that I named Big Ted. When I was done and the recess bell chimed, I was out on the playground with Big Ted. A kid came up to me, and it's been a while, so I don't know what he said because this was in like first grade, but it went a little something like this. Oh, you like teddy bears? Wow, you're a pussy-ass little bitch, aren't you? See, Tanner, this is why you keep your weird obsessions to yourself. I still liked collecting stuffed animals. I just didn't tell anybody about it outside my immediate family. I became ashamed about this passion of mine.
Shame.
This secret passion continued as I went into middle school. There, I met a friend. Let's call him Corbin. Corbin also had two little sisters, and all of them played this magical game called Webkinz. If collecting stuffed animals was a gateway drug, Webkinz was that injection of heroin straight into our veins. My siblings and I would get money from our parents and walk down to this Hallmark next to the supermarket. The first one I got was a raccoon named Rocky. If you don't know what Webkinz is, basically you buy a stuffed animal, put in the code on the internet, and the animal comes to life on this website. You have a house and play games and use Webkinz coins or whatever to buy clothes and furniture for your animals. I loved all the games on Webkinz. There was knockoff Scrabble, knockoff Bejeweled, knockoff Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, knockoff Wheel of Fortune, knockoff slot machines. Ooh, that's a lot of gambling games for a kid's website. And there was this game featuring the old Taco Bell mascot that was just as questionably racist.
Oh, the bean is broken.
My sisters and I collected so many Webkinz, our house looked like the opening to The Lion King. And we'd play games offline with our animals too. One of them is where we'd make them race around the house. I created an entire binder that had pages and pages of each animal's stats, like they were in a racing video game. Each animal had their own stat bars for things like speed, acceleration, turning, whatever. It looked like you were selecting your car in Need for Speed, except instead of a cool Lamborghini, you got a fat blue hippo. And on weekend mornings, my sisters would sit up on our second floor balcony like they were in the stands of a NASCAR arena, and I'd race the animals around the house. The thing is, I only have two hands, so I'd move like two animals up a couple feet, and then I'd run back and grab two more. It looked real dumb. And I was the oldest sibling, the mature one. So I got really into Webkinz, so much that I cheated. I have to preface this by introducing my obsession with Club Penguin. It's 1 year prior to middle school, and I was hardcore into Club Penguin. If you don't know what Club Penguin was, basically, you're a penguin. Now, not to flex or anything, but I met Rockhopper, and I was there when we finally tipped the iceberg. In Club Penguin, I used this program on my PC that would record my mouse movements and clicks, and then repeat them on an infinite loop. Kind of like a ghost with OCD was controlling my computer. I would leave my PC on overnight as this program logged into Club Penguin and played the surfing game over and over for cash. Yes, I cheated. But I had to pimp out my igloo. Yeah! I used the same program a year later in Webkinz to rack up tons of money. And soon, while my sisters were shopping at the Webkinz Goodwill, I was dressing my Webkinz up in that Gucci. So I had a passion. But the issue was I was also a boy in middle school. Back then, boys weren't allowed to have passions. You played sports and you suppressed your feelings, like a man. And middle schoolers are assholes. If you had any interest that wasn't mainstream, you would instantly be marked down as a weirdo. You like anime? Ugh, weirdo. Enjoyed baking and sewing? Ugh, weirdo. Have a crush on a teacher because you found out early that you have a thing for older women in positions of power that vaguely remind you of your mother and have the authority to discipline you when you've been naughty? Weirdo. All right. Look, I was already bullied for a lot of things in middle school. I didn't need Webkinz to be added to the list. Corbin and I made a bro code to keep our little secret between ourselves. At recess with the bros, we'd talk about Smash Bros and Smosh Bros. But at home, we'd geek out over the rare furniture items in Webkinz. When friends would come over, I would desperately have to hide my Webkinz. I'd gather like all 20 of them and shove them into my closet. It felt like the old days of hiding Playboy magazines and Sears catalogs from your parents. Or so I'm told. A younger me really thought I'd have to take the secret with me to the grave. Like, if my peers found out I collected Webkinz, it would be the same as if they found out I murdered and consumed the flesh of puppies. Or that I liked feet. And then everybody grew up. There is a weird moment in life where you reach a certain age and all the things you were once ashamed or embarrassed of become things that you brag about. And people change their views as they grow up over time. The same people who'd bully me for playing Pokemon in middle school were the same people who creamed their pants when Pokemon Go came out. To sum up what I've learned growing up is don't be afraid to have a passion. They become amazing icebreakers and ways to get to know people. Passions make you interesting. I have nothing but fond memories with my sisters and Corbin and Webkinz, trying to collect all the gems from the mines or trying to make inappropriate words like butt and fart in the knockoff Scrabble. And now, I'm a little bit more interesting at parties. Guys, I just really miss Club Penguin. Seeing it shut down was like a tiny part of me just died forever. We're hosting a memorial in the dojo on the Blizzard server. I hope to see you all there. It turns out most of the class was literally just cooking. And the last person was this freckled brunette girl who sat across from me. Boom, sparks. Holy shit, I am going to marry this girl. There was a time middle school Tanner liked a girl so much, he pretended to be a Republican.